Hi there, second grade Eagle readers. Mrs. Nemec here to talk a little bit more with you about context clues and how we can use them to be reading detectives. So if you tuned into our last video, you know that context clues are hints that the author gives us to help define a difficult or unusual word. So we are going to use those hints today to help us figure out the meaning of difficult and unusual words and sentences. To begin, we're going to start out with something kind of silly. I have some silly words put into sentences, and you are going to try to figure out the meaning of these silly words using the context clues in the sentence. Check out this first sentence. Let's see if we can figure out what the word glob means. Cameron likes to glob outside during the winter when there is snow. So use some context clues around that word to figure out the meaning of the word. So we know whatever glob means, we know it is something that is done outside in the winter when there is snow. But I'm going to show you how the more context clues you have, the easier it is to figure out the meaning of the word. So let's take it to the next level. Let's look at that same word, glob, with a sentence with a few more context clues. Cameron likes to glob outside during the winter when there is snow and the lifts are open. So a little bit more information there. We know that whatever the word glob means is something that happens outside during the winter when there is snow. And to be able to glob, the lifts have to be open. So I want you to take some time now. I want you to think, what do you think the word glob means? Maybe you'd like to jot your prediction down on a piece of paper, or maybe you'd just like to keep it in your head. Either way, make a prediction using the context clues. What does the word glob mean? If you said ski, you're correct. You know that skiing is an activity that you do in the winter when there is snow and the lifts have to be open. So the word glob in this sentence means ski. Great job using those context clues. Let's try another one. Today, Leah was zup at school after lunch. So some basic context clues here. I know that whatever zup means, it has to do with Leah being at school and it happened after lunch. Kind of tricky to figure out the meaning of that word. So let's see if some more context clues would help you. Today, Leah was zup at school after lunch, so the teacher sent her to the nurse. There's some more context clues that really might help you figure out the meaning of the word. So I know that Leah is feeling zup at school after lunch, but most importantly, I know that since she was zup, the teacher sent her to the nurse. That's the big clue here, knowing that the teacher sent her to the nurse. So using those context clues, what do you think the word zup means? Today, Leah was zup. The word zup in this sentence means sick. She's feeling sick. So you use those context clues to know that if you're feeling sick, the nurse would probably be where you would go. So in this case, the word zup means sick. All right, so now let's see if we can move on to some real words. Before we were looking at silly made up words. Now I'm going to put some real words into sentences, and your job is going to be to figure out the definition of those words using the context clues. Here's my first sentence. In my opinion, peas are deplorable. They make me gag. Deplorable is a real word, and it's a real juicy word. So using context clues, using hints around that word, let's see if we can figure out what the word deplorable means. So we know that, in my opinion, peas are deplorable. They make me gag. So I think whatever deplorable means, it's a word that is used to describe something. In this case, it's describing peas. And a clue that helps me figure out the meaning of the word deplorable is gag. So whatever deplorable means, whatever that word means, they're saying that if peas are deplorable, they make me gag. So think about, what do you think the word deplorable means? I think it's an adjective that describes something, but what kind of adjective? A good adjective or a bad adjective? So deplorable means very bad or disgusting. So if you look at your sentence, that sentence says, in my opinion, peas are deplorable. So deplorable, we know, means very bad or disgusting. And that kind of makes sense because that context clue, gag. If something is very bad or disgusting, it probably would make you gag. Nice work. Let's take a look at our next one. When my mom saw the frown on my face, she asked why I was sulking. When my mom saw the frown on my face, she asked why I was sulking. So the word we're trying to define here is sulking. Which words or context clues do you think would help you figure out the meaning of the word sulking? So in this sentence, the character has a frown on her face. So her mom asked why she was sulking. So frown is a context clue. It's a hint that's going to help me figure out what sulking means. So if you're sulking, I'm guessing you have a frown on your face. So what do you think the word sulking means? Sulk means to be angry or upset. So think to yourself, if you're sulking, you probably have a frown on your face. You're feeling pretty angry or upset. So we use that context clue, frown, to help us figure out the meaning of the word. All right, here's my last one. I can't wait until winter is over. I can't stand these frigid temperatures. So the word we're trying to define is frigid. Our sentence says, I can't wait until winter is over. I can't stand these frigid temperatures. So let's look for some context clues in that sentence to help us figure out the meaning of frigid. I see the word winter. So whenever I see the word frigid, I see the word frigid has something to do with winter, maybe, and also temperatures is another context clue. So I know the word frigid has something to do with temperatures. So thinking about the sentence, we know that the character can't stand the frigid temperatures. So think about, what kind of temperatures do you typically have in winter? So what do you think the word frigid means? Using those context clues, I should be able to figure out that the word frigid means very cold. Frigid means very cold. I know I have very cold temperatures typically in the winter. Nice work, reading detectives. So before I sign off, I'm going to give you a fun little challenge that you can try at home. I want you to make up your own silly word. It can be any silly word. And I want you to try to put it in a sentence along with some context clues and see if someone at home can figure out the meaning of your silly word by using those context clues. Think back to the silly words I gave you, zup and glob. Come up with your own silly word and put it in a sentence. Give your reader some context clues to help them figure out what the meaning of the word is. All right, I'm so glad you joined me, and I hope you'll continue using context clues in your reading to help you figure out the meaning of unknown words. Have a great day.